Today's lecture is on blood. Students will take notes from this verbal lecture on loose leaf paper using blue or black ink. We will discuss blood this week. We will do possible activities involving making blood. We will do blood pressure lab and talk about blood transfusions. All right, let's get started. What is blood? Blood is the bodily fluid in which nutrients, waste, hormones, and other substances are transported throughout the body. It's often referred to as the river of life. It transports all substances that must be carried from one place to the next within the body. Blood's color, some always think blood is blue, but the color of blood will depend on the amount of oxygen it is carrying. The color will vary from bright red or scarlet red, which is also called oxygen-rich blood, to a dull red, which is called oxygen-poor blood. The chemistry of blood is going to be 5 times thicker than water. The pH of blood is going to be 7.35 to 7.45. The temperature is going to be 100.4 degrees. And the blood is going to account for 8% of the human body's weight. The volume is, in healthy males, is about 6 liters. So the chemistry of blood is 5 times thicker than water, accounts for about 8% of the human body's weight, pH of about 7.3, and temperature around 100 degrees. Now, the major function of blood is just transport. Major function is transport. We're going to look at the components of blood. All right, you got 2 major components, plasma and cells. Plasma is going to consist of 55%, or blood's going to consist of 55% plasma and 45% cells. All right, the plasma is what's known as that liquid portion. It's 90% of this liquid portion is actually water. It's going to contain things like proteins, gases, nutrients, hormones, waste products, and other substances that can be dissolved in water. So plasma is that liquid portion. And 90% of this liquid portion is made up of water. Examples of plasma proteins are going to include albumin, globulins, fibrinogen. Examples of plasma proteins are going to be albumin, globulins, fibrinogen, which is also called prothrombin. All right, the albumin is the protein that helps maintain proper consistency of blood. The globulins helps to destroy foreign substances. And the fibrinogen and prothrombin, these are the proteins that play an important role in blood clotting. These clotting factors, or clotting proteins, these are the ones that are removed from plasma, and sometimes when they're removed, the fluid is now called serum. When these clotting factors are removed from blood, that fluid that's left is called serum. So that's the plasma. 55% of blood is made up of plasma. The next 45% are made up of cells. And you've probably heard of some of the cells already. You're going to have three main groups of blood cells: erythrocytes, leukocytes, and thrombocytes. Erythrocytes, leukocytes, and thrombocytes. Now, your erythrocytes, these are what's known as your red blood cells. Erythrocytes are RBCs, red blood cells. They are disc-shaped, they lack a nucleus, and they are the largest group of blood cells. Their main function is to carry oxygen from the lungs to the tissues. They also carry carbon dioxide from the tissues to the lungs. RBCs are our iron-containing, or they produce an iron-containing substance called hemoglobin. They produce an iron-containing protein called hemoglobin, and it's usually abbreviated HGB for hemoglobin. Red blood cells, they produce what's known as hemoglobin. This is what gives the red blood cells their red color. This is also how red blood cells carry large amounts of oxygen throughout the blood. They're actually carried on the hemoglobin. All right, the next one are the leukocytes. And leukocytes are also called WBCs, white blood cells. They're responsible for protecting the body from bacteria and other harmful foreign substances. Commonly called white blood cells, they protect the body from harmful foreign substances. Now, there's 5 different types of white blood cells. I'll spell those for you. You have what's known as basophils. Basophils. That's a type of white blood cell. Leave yourself a little room for writing. Eosinophils. Lymphocytes. Monocytes. And neutrophils. So you have basophils, eosinophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, neutrophils. And these are all types of white blood cells. The basophils release histamines and heparins at the site of injury. They release histamines and heparin at the site of injury. Histamine and heparin. These are the chemicals that initiate inflammation and anti-clotting. These are the chemicals that initiate inflammation and anti-clotting. Now, the eosinophils, number 2, they detox foreign proteins, and they help with allergic reactions. Detox foreign proteins and help with allergic reactions. The lymphocytes, these are just mature, they're mature in your lymph nodes, and they help with the immune response. Mature in the lymph nodes, and they help with the immune response, help to try to keep you well. The monocytes, these are phagocytic cells, phagocytes that ingest and destroy foreign particles. They become larger, and when they do become larger, they're called macrophages. But these are phagocytic cells, phagocytes. You probably remember that from biology. And when they get bigger, they're called macrophages to help engulf foreign cells. Monocytes are phagocytic cells. They ingest and destroy foreign particles. And they can become larger, and when they get larger, they're called macrophages or macrophages. The neutrophils, these are also phagocytes, and they ingest and destroy bacteria and foreign particles as well. So you have basophils, eosinophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, and neutrophils. These are all types of leukocyte cells, or WBC, white blood cells. And the last one are thrombocytes. Thrombocytes are also referred to as platelets. They look plate-like in appearance, kind of roundish, and their main function is to initiate clotting factors at the site of injury. They initiate clotting factors. These are like your things that actually, when you get an injury or cut and your blood clumps up, those are your platelets that actually help. They act as a blockade to prevent further loss of blood. Let me spell platelets for you. So your last one are thrombocyte cells, and these are also called platelets. Those are your clotting factors. Now, there's a few bleeding disorders associated with thrombocytes, or the lack of, or too many. You have two bleeding disorders: thrombocytopenia. That results from the insufficient amount of circulating platelets. And then hemophilia is when you have several different bleeding disorders that result from a lack of any of the factors that are needed to help with clotting. So you have thrombocytopenia, and hemophilia. And these two are blood disorders, or bleeding disorders. So thrombocytopenia results in the insufficient number of circulating platelets, meaning you don't have enough platelets. And then hemophilia is sometimes called free bleeders. You actually lack different factors that are actually needed for clotting. So you don't have platelets, you don't have enough prothrombin, you don't have enough fibrinogen. And usually this is a hereditary disorder, hemophilia is. Now, let's also look at different types of blood groups. Blood groups are known as ABO blood groups. All right, and most of you guys have heard of different types of blood groups. So the blood groups were discovered in 1900 and 1901 at the University of Vienna by Karl Landsteiner. Karl Landsteiner. Carl Landsteiner. He studied why some blood transfusions save lives and why some prove to be more deadly. So at the University of Vienna, Carl Landsteiner is the one who came up with the different type of blood groups. So based on the presence or absence of certain factors, humans are going to be divided into 4 different groups. So you can either have type A blood, type B blood, type AB blood, or type O blood. Those are the 4 main blood groups. A, B, AB, and O. Those are your 4 main blood types. Now, and this is going to be based on the presence or absence of certain factors. So, type AB is going to have both antigens present. So you're going to have the A antigen and the B antigen present. And type O, you're going to have the absence of both antigens. So there's no A or B present. And of course, type A have antigen A, type B have antigen B. All right, transfusions, although whole blood transfusions can save lives, when people are transfused incompatible or mismatched blood, the result can often be fatal. That's why it's important to make sure you know the particular blood type. All right, each person's blood is going to bear genetic different RBC antigens, and these are just proteins. Antigens are a type of proteins that make them unique. Humans are either going to inherit type A or type B antigens. Antigen is a substance that the body recognizes as foreign. It tells your immune system to release antibodies to mount a defense against it. Each human body tolerates its own antigens. So back to what I was saying earlier, if a person is given blood from another person with a different red blood cell antigen, it would be recognized as foreign. The recognizers would be known as the antibodies, and they are present in the plasma. Your antibodies are present in the plasma, and they attach to the red blood cells. Binding of the antibodies causes the red blood cells to clump or agglutinate. Now, these are going to be important words as we do our possible blood typing lab. Agglutinate or clump. Okay, agglutinate or to clump. And that's involved when you do blood typing or blood transfusion. All right, so let's look at transfusions. Who can do what? Your AB blood type is known as your universal recipient. AB is the universal recipient. Let's put recipient. Spell that wrong. All right, so your AB blood type is your universal recipient, and your O blood type is your universal donor. They can give to all. The universal recipient can receive from A, B, AB, and O. And of course, blood type B can receive from B or O, and type A can receive from A or O. Okay. What is RH factors? RH factor, this is blood contains many other factors in the addition to ABO antigens. Most humans are RH, meaning their RBCs carry the RH antigen. RH. And we said that most humans are RH positive. most humans are Rh positive. Rh is only important mainly during pregnancy. If a woman is pregnant and she is Rh negative and the fetus is Rh positive, the mother may develop antibodies against the Rh factor. If she carries a second fetus with Rh positive blood, then the anti-Rh antibodies will actually attack the infant's blood, causing the baby to be born with serious hemolytic blood disorders. So really, Rh factors are important during pregnancy with the female's first pregnancy. And we'll talk a little bit more about the hemolytic disease. But the key point to know is Rh factor. Most humans are Rh positive, and this is important during pregnancy. All right, we'll continue on Wednesday with more blood transfusions. These notes, please have them in class on your lab day.